Anyone can create an app now, but getting paid for it, that's the hard part. So in this masterclass, I'll be walking you through all 9 steps of my proven concept to cash system. And this is the same blueprint that I've used to earn millions selling software over the last 20 years. And I'm not just gonna send you the steps, I'm gonna do the whole thing live, right in front of you, every step. So let's get started. Great to have you here, and thanks so much for joining us. We've created a few applications in the past, some really cool web apps, and I get asked a lot in the comments, hey Randy, that's really cool, but how do I make money at it? How do I sell it? How do I create a website and create a funnel? Today, we're gonna go over all that. In fact, we're gonna do a lot more. We're gonna be taking one of my older templates, converting it into an application. I'm gonna be showing you my 9-step method for turning an app into cold hard cash. We're gonna go through every single step of this concept to cash blueprint, and we're going to be doing everything live. So it's going to be a great training. If you have not yet, please make sure you do get subscribed, and I'll be including a full download of all the skills and everything we're doing today inside a free download. So make sure you grab that. That'll be inside the video description under the word download or on my website. All right, so let's get started. The first thing what we want to do is we want to choose our template, our idea or concept. Now, if you don't have a template, no problem. You can start with simply just an idea, but I already have a template. In fact, I've got a host of them. Now, one of them that I really liked in the past was a freelancer's invoice. Now, the reason that I like this is that freelancers are often kind of in the middle. I worked many years as a freelancer, and we want a simple, easy, and cost-effective way to bill our customers and keep track of those invoices. We don't necessarily want to use an application like QuickBooks, and sometimes we need something a little bit more professional than just a standard spreadsheet. So this is where my idea came. I want to take this particular freelancer's invoice and I want to turn it into a full web app that can be used on any type of device. In this original template that I created, we had billing entries. We could create new billing entries. We could add new customers. We could navigate between invoices. We could also create new invoices. We had an invoice list. We have an invoice items, billing entries for every specific customer, service items, projects, and customers. So what I want to do is I want to take all of that and I want to create a web app based on that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a domain for that. We're going to get it registered. We will create a full sales funnel, web page. In order to get payments, we'll be setting up a payment process. So make sure you're in it for the long haul. I'll be covering every aspect. All right, so that's the idea. Now we need help with that, of course, and Claude is the perfect way to help us. So Claude is going to be doing all of that. But what we want to do first is when we create that web app, we want to actually store the data online. We want it in a safe and secure environment. The web app is simply the front facing and the database is the back end, what holds the data. So we need something secure to do that. Now, the best thing I've found is Supabase. Supabase is a great one because it allows us to use up to 2 projects. We can have multiple databases inside that, and it's all free as long as it's a limited use, and I have never needed to pay for it. So the first thing what you want to do is get yourself a free account with Supabase. That's supabase.com. And so once you have an account, you'll be able to create projects inside this. And I already have a free account. I'm on the free plan. Now, what is important is Claude. That's the LLM that we're going to be using. Of course, you can use your LLM of choice. You could use Codex or Gemini or one of the others, but I'm really comfortable with Claude, and it also connects directly with Supabase. And so not only can Claude build our web app, it can actually build the database, connect the database to our web app together, and also add in some sample data. We don't have to do any of that as long as we connect Claude to our database. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've got the desktop version of Claude here. We want to make sure that we actually connect Supabase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go into customize. Now I've got multiple connectors already set up, but I want to connect that. So I'm going to go into the search right here, and I'm just going to type in Supabase, and it already comes up. So I'm just going to click connect. And what it's going to do is going to go in through the login, and it's going to make sure that you're connected. And it's a very simple process. And so it's already connected to my organization. If we want to go down into the permissions so we know exactly what Claude can do, it can read and write to the database, it can create databases, it can create secrets. So it's got a lot of power here, and that's exactly what we want. So I'm just going to click authorize Claude. Once it's done that, it's now connected. And that means Claude can read our database and create it. It's going to be very helpful and save us a ton of time from having to do it ourselves. So once Claude has actually connected to Supabase, we are good to go. I can open Claude up and I'll go ahead and open the desktop app. If we take a look inside here, we see that it's got some different things that it can actually read. So these are the read-only tools. And also we have the ability to write and delete tools. So now that we have it connected, what we want to do is we want to give Claude some information about what we want to create. And so here I've got this Excel file, this freelancer's invoice, and I want to actually use this as a sample so that Claude can get an idea of the application. It can get an idea of the database and the structure in both the front end and the back end. So I want to drag it, but that's not quite enough. So what I want to do is I want to actually have a specific prompt. Because not only do I want to create an app, but I want to create an app that can be licensed. I'm going to be showing you how to secure that. I want it to have a free version and I want it to have a paid version, and I have some idea. And I think that we're going to call it Get Paid. So that's pretty much what we want to do. As a freelancer, we want to get paid. That's the name of this app, and I'm going to call it Get Paid. So I'll be copying this prompt in here. We won't go over the entire prompt, but basically it's just saying that I've attached my template here and we have some details that I'll go over. So let's go ahead and send this prompt and get it started to working on our application. Now, what we also want to do is we also want to work in a folder. So we can assign a specific folder for that. That's going to put everything in the folder. So this can be quite nice. I've got a folder here called Get Paid. I'm going to select that, and that's the folder that I want it to work in. Okay, now inside this prompt, if I can go over just a few details, I've attached Excel invoice application. It's going to look at that, and also some technical information. We want one self-contained indexed HTML. That is going to be the product that we are asking for. We're going to be hosting it with Netlify. I'll be going over that in a moment. And also we have some colors and some styles. I'll also to make sure to include this entire prompt so that you can read it all inside the download. And it's going to study our workbook, and it is going to pull out the VBA functionality, understand how it's working, and then it will actually create the app for us. While that's working, let's go over some of the other features of this. We want to make sure that we are going to actually host our app. What we're using is called Netlify.com. Netlify, like Supabase, has a great free tier. It allows us to create projects. It allows us to host our applications, and we get 300 free credits a month. And for example, just simply dragging and dropping our application uses 15 credits. And I've found that to be really good. Every time we update it, it's about 15 credits. So that means we can have 20 different updates of our application in a month. And it's super simple. It's simply drag and drop. So you want to make sure you get signed up on Netlify.com. And I've already signed up. Once you're signed up, all you need to do is simply drag and drop or browse our project. So the project can be a zip file, it can be a simple HTML, whatever it is going to create and host it for us. We'll also get a custom domain for that. So after that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new website. And I'll be using SiteGround, which is the host I've used for many years, and it's just $2.99 a month. So it's a great cheap way, and you get a one website, and it's fully flexible. So SiteGround's what we'll be using. Let's check on Claude to see how it's working. And so while that's working, let's go ahead and register a domain. And so here is my SiteGround account. So we're going to go into websites. Now I want to create a new website, and also what I want to do is I want to use a new domain. We're going to be creating a WordPress website. So I'm going to select that. And we can also create a blank website, either one, but we'll create a WordPress website. Next up, it's going to ask me, what about a domain? And I want a brand new domain. I want to register that. So I'm going to select on that. And I have one in mind. I think it's going to be freelancegetpaid.com. That's the one I would like to use. And I'm going to search to see, make sure that that one is available. If it is, I can then register it. And we see right here, freelancegetpaid.com is available, and it's already added. So I'm simply going to click continue. It is super simple. We also need an email address assigned to that. I'll just use one of my emails and a password. Once the password's set up, we can continue. Now, this is the password that's going to get us inside the website. We can also go through the host. We can skip this part. We don't need those additional add-ons. And also the next screen, there's an option. We don't need that. And then I simply need to just pay now. It's $18. So once it's done, it's then going to create a WordPress site in which we're going to build our sales page on. So it's creating, it'll take just 2 minutes. We can check back on Claude to see its progress, and we can take a look at it. Everything passes on a real Postgres, every security claim. So it's following all the steps, and it looks pretty good. So we've got a schema. It's still working on it. Now I'm going to tell you are connected to Supabase. Please go ahead and create it yourself. So I want to allow it. So now we're going to use this folder. So we're giving it permission to create the database on its own because it is now connected. So it says, you've got it. Let me connect your Supabase project and apply it. So it's going to actually create the database, add fake data into the database, and do everything for us. While it's working on that, we can check back with SiteGround, and we see that our site has now been created. So we can go to the WordPress admin or site tools. I'm going to go to the site tools. I want to make sure that we have set up some single socket layer security. So we're going to take care of that. I'm going to go into the security here, and we're just going to go into the SSL manager, and inside this screen, I just want to select Let's Encrypt, and we're just going to get that. That's going to ensure that it is a secured site, and it's just kind of an important thing to do. We now have our SSL certificate, so our site is secured. If we go back into SiteGround, the client area, just where we were, we also saw another option for the WordPress admin. Now, as far as where we are in these steps, if we take a look at this one, in step 1, we've chosen our template, we've selected an Excel, and we've validated the idea. We also have proof of concept. Next up, we're building our app. Claude is working on that for us. It's connecting the Supabase, and we're about to test the functionality. Once we have that, we're going to be able to deploy to Netlify, and we have a live URL. While that's working, we've been working on number 4, building our website. So we've just got the domain registered, and we're about to get into that. But let's check on Claude to see how our web app is being built. So we're going to look here, Claude. It says, let me connect it to Supabase. So we look good. We've got a schema here. All right, once we're inside back on our websites, I'm going to click on the WordPress admin. That's going to take us into the backside of WordPress so that we can start adding some plugins for that. And it's going to take us directly into this website. So we have here just a little bit of a wizard. So I'm going to click Exit Wizard. That is something that's put on by SiteGround, and it's like a WordPress starter. We don't need that because you've got me here. So if we want to look at what our website looks like before we start working on it, it looks something like this, rather plain and boring, but don't worry, we're going to get a full, beautiful sales page, and Claude is going to help us with that. While it's working on the app, we can add some necessary plugins for that. Now, plugins are basically like software connectors that work with WordPress. It can make it do lots of things. We're going to be able to sell on our website. So the first thing what we want to do is add a plugin called WooCommerce, and it is free. So I'm going to go to plugins here, and we're going to click Add Plugin. Once inside the search, I'm just going to type in here WooCommerce, and I can just select it, and it's going to search for that. Once we have WooCommerce here, we see it's got 7 million active installations, so it's quite popular, one of the most popular plugins on WordPress. It's basically 2 steps, 1 to install and 1 to activate. And there's a few more plugins that we'll be adding in as well. Now that it's installed, we are ready to activate it. So we're going to activate WooCommerce. We also want to be able to charge, and Stripe is one of the best ways to do that using Stripe payment processor through WooCommerce. And it's right here, WooCommerce Stripe payment gateway. And I'm just going to click install now. Once it's installed, all we need to do is just click activate, and that'll activate it. And then for the last plugin, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to license our products and be able to distribute licenses and have them activated. So we need a plugin for that. Now that Stripe is activated, we'll set it up in just a moment. But what we want to do is we want to go install our last plugin. So I'm going to go back here to the plugins, and I'm going to add one more, and that's called License Manager. And so here back inside the plugins search, I'm going to just search for License Manager. I've already got it here, and I'll show you exactly which one, as there's a few of them, so I want to make sure that you get the right one. And we're looking for the first one, which is this blue and white icon here, License Manager for WooCommerce. That's the last plugin that we'll be needing today. And once it's installed, we just click activate. And while that's activating, what I want to do is I want to go over to stripe.com. If you've never used it before, it is a really great flexible payment processor that works excellent with WordPress. So using this, you can accept all kinds and all types of cards from around the world, and it works in almost every single country. So I really recommend Stripe. And also you can add PayPal as well. I have both on my main website, but for today, we'll just be using Stripe. Also, I will be adding even more onto this training inside my membership platform, where I create a brand new updated training and video along with additional downloads for our members. So make sure you check out our elite membership. I've got a whole lot in there, over 240 updated templates and trainings already, and another one next week on this one. So make sure you get signed in on Stripe. So that's really important. That's the next step we're going to go. Now we have the license manager. We don't need this. What I want to do is I want to go into WooCommerce. We want to get set up. So we're going to go into the WooCommerce settings. To get set up, you'll want to make sure you add an address here. You can look down here whether you want to enable coupons. We'll keep that. Whether you want to calculate discounts, and you're going to set your currency. And then we have some currency information and details here. We're going to save those changes. Next up, inside the products tab, if we take a look inside here, we see we have a shop page. We can keep this. We can redirect to the cart page after successful addition. Means when someone adds an item to the cart, do you want to go directly to the cart page? So we have that option. And also we have some information that's not so important as far as whether you want to enable reviews or product ratings and things like that. Next up, we're going to focus on shipping. This is a digital product, so we're not going to worry about shipping at this moment. Payments, of course, is important, and that's what we need to do, get set up. Inside the payments tab here, I'm going to take Stripe and I'm going to bring that up to the top. That's the only one we're going to be focusing on. And what we need to do is we need to complete the setup. So we're going to create or connect an account. If you don't have an account, you can create or connect a test account, and I've already have one. So instead of creating, it will connect my own account, and it'll just ask me for the login, and I'll add that in. I've now connected my Stripe payments. I've also added the key, so we are good to go on that. And here in the Stripe settings, we see it's already set up. We can enable the test mode here. We can configure the connection. That's already done. So we're pretty much good to go. If we make any changes, we can then save them. But that's pretty much it. Also, let's have a look at the payment methods, because it is really flexible. As you can see here, depending upon your country and location, you can add all of these different payment connections, including Apple Pay, linked by Stripe, Google Pay. So the more you select, the more payment options your customer has. So it can be very helpful. Okay, next up, what we want to do is we want to customize the site, make sure that it has our proper name. So we're going to go into settings and then general. And here's where we can give it a site name and a byline and add some information. So certainly we don't want my WordPress. So I'm just going to put get paid here, and I'm going to put a tagline, the ultimate freelance toolkit. Okay, that should be sufficient. Also, we're going to add a site icon in there, but we don't have one just yet. We can add the date formats and the time zones, however you want, and save the changes. So we're good to go on that. At least we got a correct site title and a tagline for now. Let's go ahead and check back with Claude. Claude has now completed the application. We see we have the get paid sign here. We could sign in, we got an account. So I like that, that looks really nice. Now what we want to do is I want to take that and I want to make it live. So the first thing what we want to do is we're going to show in the folder if it's downloaded or download and open, we can do that. So it's going to open it up right now. So we have this, we can sign in, we can add an email and password, or we can create an account. Also very helpful. But before we do that, I want to take that file and I actually want to put it on Netlify hosting. Remember, you signed up for a free account. All we need to do is take that downloaded index HTML file and drag it in or upload it from here. Since I've just downloaded, it's in my downloads folder. So I'm going to browse files to upload. I'm going to select on here. It's right here inside my downloads, and I'm just going to click open. What that's going to do is it's going to actually host our application. So it takes just a moment, then you'll see it automatically. So here we have it already. It's given us a temp name. We don't want that. So I'm going to go into quick setup here and give it a real name. I'm just going to call it get paid here. Okay, that's being used. Let's use freelance get paid. I think that one's okay. It's unique. We're going to update the project name. Once that's done, we can actually go into the project and we can log in. So we'll finish that part later. You can actually add a custom domain if we want to. All right, so now we're good to go. Notice that our domain is freelance.getpaid.netlify.app. I'm going to select it and we see we have our app live. Now within this app, we can create an account and we can sign into an existing account. Now, since Claude was kind, it did actually create an account for me. So I've got already an email and a password already set up, so no problem with that. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here as well as the password, and I'll remove this user after the video, so no worries on that. So I'm going to paste that in and I'm going to sign in. Once signed in, we can see that we have a full application with some sample data. We've got some time and billing data. We've got some invoices. If I select on an invoice, I can edit an individual invoice. I can add line items. I can pick a service. I can add the hours. I can add the rate, and we can add a notes optional. We can save the invoice. We can also print a PDF, milestones and recorded. These are locked for paid users. It looks like that, which is kind of nice. Individual projects, customers we have, service items, as we mentioned, we can add and update those. We have auto reminders that's locked. It's only for pro feature for paid. And we have some settings here. We can add a business name. So we can do this Fredders Incorporated. So we can add address here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Main Street. We can add in a logo, which is nice. So I can choose an individual logo. Speaking of logos, we also need some information for our individual application. We need a box, we need some images, and we're going to be able to set up the product. So things looking pretty good. We have a free versus paid, and also we have a license key. This key is validated by Secure. We have a free version, but we can unlock the new features using Pro. All right, I like that. And we can save the individual profile. Now we need some images for our product to be able to sell it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now, because Claude isn't great at creating images, I'm going to have ChatGPT do the images. However, Claude is very good with the prompts. So let's get Claude on the prompts. So I'm just going to scroll down here. And what I want to do is say, please create a prompt for a box image of this application. And then we're going to have ChatGPT create that. So it's going to create a box, and that box is going to be on the product. Now, speaking of the product, why don't we go ahead and get that created on our website? So I'm going to go back here into my SiteGround account. We're going to focus on creating a product. Now, inside our menu here, we have products. And what we want to do is we want to add new product. So inside this product name, we're just going to call this Get Paid, and we can call it Get Paid Pro if they're going to be purchasing it. So we'll do Get Paid Pro as the Pro version. And of course, we need an image, and we also want some information for the product. So I'm going to create a simple product, and it is virtual because they're going to be downloading it, and we'll put a download as they can download some files or they can just get a URL. Now, what we want to do is we want to set up the licensing for this. So for now, I'm just going to publish this. But what we want to do is we want to create a generator. So this is going to generate the license. So let's go ahead inside here. We're going to look for generators. That's part of the License Manager plugin. And once we're in this screen, we're going to click Add New. And we're going to give it a name. We're just going to call it Get Paid Generator. Okay, that's going to be fine. Now the maximum activation, how many times the license key, we're just going to put 1. Now what we want to do is we want to create a character map. So the character map is what characters can they use. So we'll just use their sample here, and it's going to be required. So we can use different letters. So that's all the letters that we can use if we want, and the numbers that we want. So we can use all of them. That's fine. Now, what about the number of chunks? So let's say the number of chunks is 4. So we're going to use just their sample is fine. 4 is essential. And the chunk length, once again, we'll set that to 4. The separator will be the dash. And I want to put a prefix on this. I want to make sure that it's Pro. Now, if we look inside our individual application, we did see up right here, we have this one called Get Paid Pro. That will be the prefix so we can differentiate between the license. So back into our generator here, I'm just going to use this called Get Paid and then dash Pro. It's not necessary, but it's helpful. So we're going to use that. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put the prefix here, and then the dash is going to be here. We can add an expiration. So if you're doing it every year, we can add an expires in. We'll just keep it blank. So now that we've created this generator, we can now assign it to the product that we've created. So we're going to let that save. We're going to go back into the WooCommerce and we're going to go back into all products. As we've already created this product, we're simply going to update it. Okay, and here we see just the product that we've created. We're going to go edit it and we're going to assign that generator. So I'm going to go down here and we're going to look at the license manager tab. The first model we do inventory. So I just want to share this with you. We're not tracking inventory. The license manager, we do want to sell license keys for this product. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to deliver one single license key per product. And I do want that automatically generated with each sold product. And we need to select a generator, and that's the one that we've just created. If we want to create license keys before, we can sell from a stock of available license key, but we don't need that. So I'm going to update that. We're going to need some more information. I want an image. We need a product description. So I'm simply going to copy this prompt and I'm going to bring it into my ChatGPT account. I'm going to paste it directly here and I'm going to select an image. If it doesn't know already, it should. And I'm going to just basically run it. And then ChatGPT is going to create an image for us. While it's doing that, I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm going to ask it for a long and short description for our WordPress product. Please create a long and short description for this product in WordPress. I'll just do WooCommerce. So now what it's going to do is going to generate those and we can simply copy and paste them into WordPress. And while it's doing that, let's go ahead and check on this. This looks really nice, but I do want a transparent background on that. So I'm going to edit that and I'm just going to put, please add transparent background and less small font on the receipt. So we're going to edit that image, although it looks pretty good and I do like the colors. So we just kind of bounce around because while we're waiting for the LLMs, we can do a lot of work. So here's a short description. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to just paste it inside there. Now we have a short description here and we have a little bit longer description up here. So I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm going to grab that long description, starting with right here. I'm going to hold the shift. Wow, this is a very long description. And I'm going to copy it, Control C, and then I'm going to go back into the product and I'm going to paste it directly in here. I'm going to update that. Now we're going to go back into ChatGPT, like that box, that'll be sufficient for us. And I'm going to download the box design. Let's continue on now with Claude. What I want to do is I also want a favorite icon. I want a small icon. Now I need a small square icon for the site. And so actually it'll probably give us a prompt for that. Can I get the prompt? It probably knows what I want. So I'm just going to make sure we know we just want the prompt and the rest will be taken care of by ChatGPT. Now that we have the picture, let's go ahead and add that into our application. So here's inside the product. What we want to do is we want to select a product image. So I'm going to set that product image. Now, if we have it already in our media library, it will be here, but we want to upload the files. So I can just simply drag and drop the file and bring it directly into here, and that is going to be sufficient. Sometime we might have to do some cropping of it. We can do that directly inside WordPress. That looks pretty good. If we edit the image, we can see if it needs to be cropped at all, and we can probably crop it just a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on crop here, and I'm going to bring it down. I just want to make sure that we have the maximum size as possible. So we're going to apply the crop. And then what we're going to do is we're going to save the edits. And then I'm simply going to set the product image. And I want to make sure that we update it. We also want to put a price on that. And I'm going to set this for about $19. So I'm going to put the normal price as $49 and the sale price as $19. If we want to add a file like a download, we can do that as well, but that's not necessary at this point. And we'll go ahead and update those price changes and we are good to go. Back inside Claude, we have a minimal icon that we're going to use on our website. So let's go ahead and put that into ChatGPT and have it generate that. So here, what we're going to do is I'm going to go out of the edit. We don't need an edit and I'm just going to paste this in here. And we want to make sure that it's another image. We can use this same chat, should be fine since it's all part of the same application. While it's generating that, let's go ahead and go back into here. I'm going to click on the store coming soon as we see that, and we really want to launch this. So we're going to make that update. And here we have it coming soon. So what we want to do is we want to set the live and we're going to save the changes. We actually want to get some traffic and make some sales. We can check on our ChatGPT and we've got a nice little icon. That's all we really want, something very simple because it's going to be small small. I'm going to select it and download it. I'm going to show you exactly where we're going to be applying that. So back inside our website, now we see that we just have this standard favorite icon, which is the W for WooCommerce, and we want something more custom for our website and the product that we're selling. And to do that, we can go back into settings here, and we're going to go inside general. Here inside, we see this button called choose a site icon. I'm going to upload a file, and that downloaded file that we have, I'm just going to drag that once again right in here. And that is also known as the favorite icon, or FAV icon. That will be displayed instead of this W. And we're going to click set as a site icon, and we don't need to crop the image in this case, so we'll just click crop. It's perfect just as it is. So now we have the site icon, and all we need to do is save the changes and keep your eye on that little icon right up here. And there it is. We have our icon. It looks pretty good, so we're getting there. All right, now we're just about ready to create the sales page. When we go to the visit site, certainly we don't want our users to see this boring page. We want them to see an actual sales page. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. And Claude's going to help us with that. And I'm simply going to say, okay, now I need a full HTML sales page. And I've got a CRO, which is a conversion rate optimization. I'll make sure to include that. That'll help convert visitors into sales, and a strong CTA, call to action, with both free and paid options. I'll just put and set price to 19. I almost forgot about that. We'll let it generate that sales page for us. While it's working on that, what we want to do is we want to actually create a page where we're going to place it. So I'm going to go back directly inside our website, and we're going to go inside the dashboard here. Once we're in the main, we're going to go to pages, and we want to add a page. Initially, it'll be blank until Claude delivers us the HTML and we put it inside. And we can just simply add the title here, and I'm just going to call it Get Paid Home. That is it. Now we want to know exactly what type of a template we want. In this case, I don't want to show anything else other than that. So what I want to do is I'm going to select on the pages, and I want to create a brand new template, and I'm just going to call it home page template. And basically it's going to be blank. So I'm going to create that. And here's our template. So now the title, we really don't want to see that. So I am going to basically hide it or delete it. I'm just going to omit from the publish. And also we don't need the subtitle here. So I'm simply going to hide that also. And the content, this area we do. This area, we don't need this also. So once again, I'm just going to hide the sections. I just want to keep it as simple as possible. So until we get just the content is enough. And now what about the content width? I'm going to use a percentage, and I want to set it to 100%. And that's going to be a full. I think it's good as is. We can save that. Once that's done, we can move back. So we're done with the template. And here we've already selected the homepage template. Now what we want to do is we want to choose a block, and we're going to choose an HTML block. So we're going to look for it. And if you don't quite see it, all you need to do is just type in HTML. And that's the block that we want to enter. So we're simply going to click edit the HTML. And now we are ready to import Claude's HTML page. So let's go back to Claude and see if it's completed. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we see here it has completed our page. All right, that looks really nice. We've got a good description. I'm going to download it or show it in the folder if it's downloaded. There it is. So we see it inside our folder, and here we have the sales. But what I really want is the HTML. So I'm going to right click, and I just want to edit it with my notepad or anything. And I'm simply going to bring it in, and I'm going to use Control A and Control C. So I'm copying all of the HTML, and I'm going to simply paste that directly inside here. And I'm going to click update. Now we've got a nice, beautiful sales page already done for us with two pricing options, both the 0 and the most popular. Now it might need to be updated for a few things, but it's looking pretty good. Now I simply want to save that draft. And then of course we are going to publish it. Okay, the draft has been saved. Now we could preview it or publish it. I'm just going to publish the page. Now that it's been published, I'm just going to click view the page, or I can click here, and it's now live. Now the only thing we want to do is we want to make it our home page so that when they come directly to freelancegetpaid.com, this is the page that they see. So let's go ahead and get that done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into our website. I'm going to exit out of here and we're going to go to the main dashboard. And to do that, we're going to go inside Appearance here and we want to go into the editor. So once inside, we're going to look at published here and we can see that we have different published pages. Now we're looking for the one that we've just created, which is called the Get Paid Home. I'm going to select on this little 3 dots here and I'm going to click Set as Homepage. And you'll see as soon as we set it to the homepage, it's automatically going to update. It says our homepage is updated. So now we can exit out of there and we can go back to our home. Now, if we want to go under the Get Paid, we can click Visit Site. When we do visit the site, here we see under the main domain, we now have our sales page and we are ready to go. So now let's go ahead and see what point we are inside a process. So now we've created the product, we've created the sales page. Now we can set up our purchase and our sales page together. And so what that means is when we click on Get Pro, we want it to go straight to the product purchase. And so we need to set that button up to do that. But I need to tell Claude a little information about our product, like especially what is the product ID? Every individual product has its own ID. So let's grab that ID. And to do that, we're going to go into the products, all products. We only have one product. Let's see if it's displayed here. We can edit it. Sometimes it's displayed here, but we can see it up here. So we see this is the post equals 13. It is product ID 13. So we need to tell Claude to generate a button link that's going to add product number 13 to the cart. So I'm going to go to Claude and I'm going to say, okay, we have our product number 13. Please create a add to cart button link for the main CTA. And so now it knows exactly which product to add to the cart. Now it's asking for the domain. It also needs that. So we're going to make sure to give it the domain that it has. So I'm going to copy our domain and I'm just going to paste it in here. And I'm going to select it because it's got to know the domain. Should we go straight to the checkout? And let's do that. We don't have multiple products. We have just one. So we might as well go straight to the checkout. Okay, it's done. Here's the link here for us. We can actually copy that link and make sure that it works. It's also got additional buttons that it's adding. So there's not just one, but I do want to copy that link and I want to put it in just to make sure that it goes to the right place. So I'm going to add in a new tab and I'm going to paste it right here and it goes to the cart, which is exactly what I want to see. And they can proceed to the checkout. So I like it. The button works well. We have a regular price, we have the sales price. Certainly the cart could be improved, but it's working and that's what we really want. We can actually do the payment. So the link is right. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take its entire HTML and I'm going to download and open it. I just want to make sure that it is downloaded. Looks good to me, but I want to make sure that we do have the updated version of that. And this is the correct one. It is 451. This file is modified. I do want to reload it, correct. We're going to replace it. So now it's much easier. I'm just going to copy and paste all that HTML code. I'm going to go back into my page here and then I'm going to make the update. So once again, pages, all pages. We only have really one that we're going to be working on, and that is this one. So I'm going to click Edit here. It's very easy to update that HTML now that we have the correct buttons. And once again, I'm going to select on here. I'm going to edit the code, Control A, I'm going to delete it just to make sure, and Control V to paste in that updated. And I'm going to click Update. Lastly, once it's updated, we just go ahead and save those updates. Now that it's got that, what I also want to do is I want to tell it where the free app is. So right here in the tab, what I want to do is I want to grab the URL of the application, and I also want to give that to Claude so that it has that. And for the free users, let's send them here. Oh, and it'll make that update as well. So now that it's programmed that in there, we are good to go. I'm going to once again download and open this so that we can get that update. So it's downloaded, good. I'm going to check my folder here to make sure that I have the most updated one. This is the one that I want. I'm going to edit that with Notepad here. I'm going to copy all of that. Now back inside the website, what I want to do is I want to replace the HTML. So here we're going to go into all pages and we're going to go into that home page that we did. and we're going to edit that. Then what I want to do is I want to go into the HTML code itself and it's simply edit that. So I'm going to select on this block. I'm going to edit the code. I'm going to use Control A. I'm going to delete what's there. I'm going to paste in my updated and I'm going to click update. Once that is updated, I'm simply going to save those page updates. And we see our page is updated. We can now view it if we want. I can select here to view the load. And so if we want to click start for free, it's going to go directly to our app. That's exactly what I want. If they are ready to pay for it, I'm going to select Get Pro 19. It's going to go straight to the cart. We're good to go. And now that we've got it in the cart, we can reduce it by 1. And now we can actually make a purchase. So I'm going to use Link. I've already connected my account to Link. I've added my information and I'm going to pay. We see the order's completed. We also got an email for that. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Here we go. Things are headed your way. We have finished processing your order. Here's a reminder. And even the license keys made it inside the email. Now, while we have the license keys, we still need to get our app to communicate with our website. So basically, when someone enters a license key, it's got to send it to the website, check if it's accurate, and then register and activate it. We need some special keys to do that from our license manager. We need a consumer key and a secret key. So we're going to be getting that right now. So I'm going to go back into my website here, and I'm just going to escape out to the dashboard. Now, once I'm in here, I'm going to go into the WooCommerce and settings, and that's where we're going to find our license manager details. And that's going to be inside this tab right here. Once inside the license manager, we're going to be looking for this REST API. We need some special keys. So to do that, we're going to add a key. And it's no problem. You can see mine. I'll be deleting them after that. And I'm just going to call it Get Paid API. And that's going to be enough. So what I want to do is I want to select a user. I've got just one user here, and I want to give it read and write permissions. When I click Generate API Key, it's going to generate those two keys, a consumer key and a secret. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that Claude has everything for the app. So I'm going to tell Claude, here is the license details. I want to give it a URL. I want to give it a consumer key, and it needs a consumer secret. So that's going to be sufficient. Now what I need to do is just simply copy and paste those in there so that Claude has everything to connect the two together. So I'm simply going to give it this domain right here, although it should know, but I just want to make sure that it has everything. And also let's go ahead and grab the consumer key, which is here. So I'm going to paste that here. And lastly, let's do the consumer secret. Great. Now, once it has that information, I also want to grab one other thing, which is the licensing skill. So I'm going to grab that from the folder. And here you're going to get all of this information, everything that's going to help you. But this is the one that I'm looking for now, application licensing. And I'm just going to drag that in there. And that will make sure that it's got all the instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and send it, and it will know exactly what to do. So what it's going to do, it's going to make an update to our app. We're then going to relaunch the app, and it will be completely ready to send the licensing information to our website from our app. And while it's working on that, let's go ahead and visit the website so we can actually see the license key that got generated. So what we're going to do inside our products, we're going to look here for license keys. Now this is the one that was just generated. As we can see, it's been delivered, but it yet has not been activated. We have all the customer information. We can copy it if we need to. And so everything is here that we need. What we want to do is we want to put this into the app, and we want this to change to activated. Claude has now completed the update of our application, and that's going to include the updates to the licensing. So I've downloaded it, and it's inside my downloads folder right now. I'm going to grab it through the Netlify. I'm going to locate it from my downloads. That's going to be the updated file here, and I'm going to open it up. Now, all we're going to do is just let Netlify update our website. We just want to make sure that it has the same name, index.html. So we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and launch this one more time. I'm going to sign in, and it's automatically signed in. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to paste in that license key. I'm going to paste it right here, and I'm going to click Unlock Pro. And it's checking my license, and it says Pro unlocked. So now we've got all the Pro features available to us. We've got our full projects, customers. We have our automated reminders, so we can draft chase emails, So it's got a lot of features here and we have completely unlocked it. So let's go ahead and see where we are inside. We've created a sales machine. We've created the sales page, the free download, the upgrade offer. We've connected everything. We've done end-to-end testing, just about. We bought our own product and we verified the licensing and emails. Now we're going to create a marketing plan. While we can't create an entire marketing plan, what I can do is I can give you all the skills and give you some ideas of what is possible. I wanted to take a look at this Facebook group. I created this Facebook group just about a week and a half ago called Claude for Office. While it's not related to our particular application, what is impressive is the number of members and my interaction with the group, which is 0. And that means this particular group, completing the header, the creation, the invites, every single post and every single reply was done by Claude. Even the pictures, Claude would prompt, ChatGPT will create the pictures, and Claude will post it. So everything you see in this group is done by Claude. So that means that you can create groups. You can create Facebook fan page, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media platform you're on, Claude can help you with that. And so what I have for you is all the skills inside the suite. So we have Facebook page content skill. We have a Facebook group content skill, which shows you how to create engaged groups and do a little bit of selling in there. Instagram, LinkedIn. So all these skills are available for you to do. If we were to double click and open one of these skills here, it's basically like a zip file. Now, if we open a notepad, it's going to be just gibberish, but inside the individual skills is actually all the details. So if you drag and drop this into your Claude or whatever LLM, it will actually be able to parse it. So let's do that now so I can show you, just so we can see how you can use this to your advantage when you're marketing your product. So I'm going to go into customize. And I'm going to go into skills right here. And what we want to do is we want to add a skill here. So I want to upload a skill because I have many of them. And now it's just simply a matter of dragging and dropping those skills. So let's take this one like LinkedIn. If you have a business content, this is perfect. So inside this LinkedIn, it's going to give your LM instructions exactly on how to market your product. And I'm going to take a look at it here. So you can read it here, what you get, inputs, gather first. I won't go over everything. Specific methods on how you can write like human, what to do, what not to do. So this is going to instruct your agent or your LLM how to create really professional LinkedIn content. Now, while it knows how to create LinkedIn content, it also needs to know what to create and for who to create it. So that's very important as well. So to do that, I've got a whole lot of skills for you. One is your customer avatar. This is going to help you build your perfect customer. Whatever you build, you want to have your ideal customer in mind. And the customer avatar is going to help you do that. Whatever LLM, if it's Claude, it will help you by asking you questions, interviewing you about your application, the problems it solves, the customers. And so it will develop a perfect customer avatar. You'll be able to use that in the individual applications that you can create. We'll have email campaign skills. So everything you need to launch your product on social media, I've got all the skills that I've assembled for you here. We also have the initial build prompt. This is what I created. And we have the application licensing that help Claude understand the licensing. So I've got all that. I'm also going to be including the original freelancer's invoice application inside the file. So let's go ahead and review. So inside the marketing plan, you've got now the social media strategy. We'll have a content calendar, lead magnet, and I'll be adding even more. Also, when you go live, you'll be able to publish it. We are live. You can announce it. And just like I'm doing now, promoting it and getting your first customer. So all of that is in the 9-step method. Now, once again, I'll be making an update to this next week, but I want to hear your feedback, your ideas. What do you want to see in this new? Did I miss anything? Did I skip a step? Is there something that you want me to create or want me to share with you? I'm happy to do that. And I'll be doing that inside our Elite membership updated video next week. And also more skills, more detailed training. I hope you'll join us there, especially if you're a gold or platinum member. And also check out my ultimate workbook library. I've got a really amazing brand new library with over 500 workbooks and templates. Thank you so much. I'm super happy to bring this to you, and we'll see you next week.